welcome in everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast. We have Mick Lovin, we have Stat Guy. Pags will be a little late. How you doing, gentlemen?
I'm doing wonderful in terms of my team, but obviously, Bo, like I was telling you in pregame, we're 2 games, or no, 1 game back of you guys, but it just seems like we're going tit for tat. I'll win, y'all win. We lose, y'all lose. So it's, I don't know, man. But Bo, we got the big series coming up after the All-Star break, so somebody's gonna walk away with first place.
Yeah, I think it's a more important series for the Mariners than it is for the Houston Astros. And why I say that is the Mariners have been historically bad after the All-Star break for, over 20 years. Right. And this is a team that I believe will become sellers if they fall behind you guys in that stretch of time. If they can win that series, we may finally see them be buyers and try and actually do something. But the way that they're playing coming down the stretch here, I don't have a lot of faith in them doing that. Going 1-3 against the Angels, which are not a good baseball team, doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. So hopefully they can get this series win. But if they don't, sad to say, they probably start selling some pitching. And, we're in that water boy situation. We suck again.
We're talking about pitching. Houston's had a really rough go of it in terms of pitching. We've had 3 guys go down with Tommy John and Urquidy, Garcia, and what's the other guy? There's a third guy in there, and I'm drawing a blank. But we got 3 guys right now with Tommy Johns. And we're still finding some youth in Eric Getty and Blanco that are coming up real nice. As a matter of fact, I'm really surprised Blanco didn't make it on the All-Star game with the fact that with his ERA and his win ratio, but it's all right.
Yep.
I'm going to actually say that this is a more important series for Houston than Seattle.
I think so too.
Because if you look at the remaining strength of schedule, Seattle has the 4th easiest schedule the rest of the way.
Yeah, they just went 1-3 against the Angels.
Well, I know that, but I'm just saying, if in Houston, I think Houston has like the 8th toughest schedule the rest of the way. So if Seattle can pick up 2 games in the standings here to create a little bit of separation that puts Seattle in a position to buy, they have the easier road the rest of the way.
Well, that's the thing is they have to win this series, because if they're not in a position to be buyers, historically they'll become sellers. They won't really try. They'll just cash in their chips and call it a season. So that's why, because Houston we've seen battle through, like we've seen them do that over the last few years, right? So even if they drop this series, they'll keep battling. They'd make a run for that wild card spot, worst case.
Right.
The Mariners, on the other hand, if they're not leading, they're just like, they adopt that. If you're not first, you're last. They're just like, good enough.
And the Astros come out and said, no, that's not true. You can be second. You can be third.
Exactly. but the way the Mariners approach it, they're just like, we're going to pack up our toys and go home.
No, but I do agree with what Dustin is saying. This series really is huge for Houston. Not so much to gather first place, but to really get that momentum booster going into the second half to actually carry forward and then play because we got to play the tougher teams as well. Like you said, our schedule's never really truly been easy. We got to play some tough teams.
I didn't mean to say it wasn't important for you guys. It's just the outlook is very different. If it's
absolutely.
Because for you guys, if you lose that one, you guys have been there enough times that you'll keep battling. Whereas the Mariners, if they don't, they're just like, we tried.
Yeah. Well, and I'm really kind of hoping that we get Tucker back soon. We have, he's been down with injury for a hot minute now. And, as much as I like Jake Myers out there in center, I would much rather see Tucker in center and then move Myers over to right and then still have Chaz or whoever played left. So
sure.
We really do need Tucker back, man. Especially getting ready to go into the second half of the season. He hasn't hit in a while, so I want him to be able to get some of that hitting in there before we really get into this postseason push.
No, I get that. And honestly, what's encouraging for your team, I don't like to see it, but what's encouraging for your team is even with all the injuries, you're keeping pace.
Yeah.
And you know, a couple of these guys you'll get back. A couple of them you won't, but a couple of these guys you'll get back. So, I mean, your team in theory should still have the ability to get better, even if you don't add pieces.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. Absolutely. And I still don't know. I'm starting to like Espada a little bit. I know Frankie was warning me against Espada and things like that because I guess he played with the Yankees organization and Frankie really didn't like him down there. But the more I'm watching it, the more I'm starting to like him because, you know, honestly, we came out slow. If we came out slower than we did last year, I mean, we still have started now to heat up a little bit.
Slow was that's not accurate. Like, you guys were playing bad baseball.
You guys are playing Chicago White Sox baseball the first 6 weeks of the season.
Yeah, no, like it was rough because even as somebody that is a fan of a team within your division, you were watching it like, what are they doing?
Yeah, no, trust me, I know all about it. Our hitting was terrible, our pitching was terrible, but the fact that Espada kept this group together. Now, granted, like you said, this is a more experienced bunch of guys, but still, I mean, a skipper still has to do certain things, and I like the fact that he's kept these guys, in line and got them back into it. So I'm starting to warm up a little bit to Espada, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I don't feel. I mean, all things being equal, I didn't have my M's doing anything anyway. If you remember, I had them as a 78 win team. Yeah. I still feel like they're that. I mean, I understand that they're on pace to be better than that, but they're not playing baseball that makes me think that they'll be better than that, even in wins, right? Like, their bats have sporadically been okay, but for the most part, the bats have been underwhelming. They have the most strikeouts in the league, which you would normally attribute to a team that's good at hitting the long ball, but they don't do that particularly well either. They're about the middle of the pack. And then they have the worst batting average in the league. So, with the worst batting average, the most strikeouts, you're not hitting bombs. Like, it doesn't inspire a lot of confidence. Then you go 1-3 against one of the worst teams. It doesn't make you feel good about where they're headed. But they look a lot like that 78 win team I was talking about at the beginning of the season.
I will say this though, in your favor of the Seattle does play Houston really damn hard, and y'all have kind of won us or owned us a little bit these last few years. So that's one thing in your favor. I think the second thing in your favor is that Houston, for some weird reason, has reversed what it did last year. Last year, we had a terrible home record. We had a great away record, which is why I wanted to be in that wild card spot so damn bad. This year, we're playing better at home and not as well on the road, and we're actually playing you this series on the road. So you actually got two things working in your favor. I will say that.
Yeah, no, I mean, they have played you guys well, and they're going to need to, because like we were saying at the top of the show, it was, if they don't beat you guys coming out of the All-Star break, I really think the M's turn into sellers because they relinquish the lead, and history says they do that. And yeah, Chris, I don't know. That's got to be Jay with the porn bots over there.
That was actually on mine. I deleted it from my thing, but it was I don't know where she came from. See what happens when I'm not on. See what happens when I'm not on. The bots come out.
I was just thinking it was Jay's because it was the first time he actually linked his stuff to it.
Did he? How about that? It might have been him then. Who knows?
I'm over here like delete.
No. Because it was before you came on, Pegs. So
yeah. But
oh, sweet goodness.
Yeah, and interesting. Who knew that the Oakland Athletics were just the West Coast Bombers?
Yeah. I saw that, Pags. When I saw the A's had beat the Phillies, I was like, "Am I seeing this correctly? Is this?"
You know what that tells me? You know what that told me? That the Phillies went out drinking the night before. That's what that told me.
Had them gone out.
Probably.
Maybe they went to Dolan's and pounded a few. And
no, if they were Dolan's, I would have told you because they'd have been here and I would have seen them.
Yeah, well, that's true.
But, and then it would have been, excusable because I know exactly how much I had to drink because we were celebrating birthdays this past weekend, and there was a lot of imbibing done by all.
There's nothing better than liquids in the bar, man. I'm gonna tell you.
Exactly.
I mean, did your pitching even show up? Did you just have like a left fielder throwing batting practice or something? Like what?
No, we had the catcher throwing the 9th inning.
Well, I mean, that
he gave up a grand slam.
Perfect.
Yeah. And like at that point, it was like 13-8. And next thing I know, like I have this app that updates how many runs are scored. I've never seen it say, like, normally it says, hey, there was 2 runs, there was 3 runs. It said 5 runs. I'm like, how does somebody get a 5-run home run? Don't know how that works. That was amazing. I'm like, how about that? I mean, there was a grand slam and then I guess another home run right after it so quickly that it updated that it was 5 runs. I was like, wow, I've never seen that before.
That's awesome.
That is amazing.
But
5-run home run. That's
either that or the ball just took so long to land that they didn't count it until it landed.
Well, I tell you, they had like almost 4,000 feet of home runs. I think it was like literally 3,380 feet of home runs. They were hitting the ball like it. As Charlie Manuel would say, it was hitting weather because those balls were flying. But like only 4 guys hit all the home runs. 8 home runs. 1 guy hit 3. 2 guys hit 2. First time ever that the A's had 3 guys hit multiple home runs. And I guess they were saying, hey, listen, take me off of this team, please. Get me somewhere else.
I mean, yeah, because 18 runs, that's rough. And I mean, even if you attribute the last 5 to the catcher.
Well, you know what? The truth of the matter is that I think the Mets lost 7-3, and like the Braves lost 1-0. And when you put all those together, all those losses, 18-3, 7-3, 1-0, all equal the exact same.
Oh no, they do. They definitely do.
So that's why I said this was a scheduled loss. It was a bullpen game in general. So it literally, they scheduled this loss. They talk about it in basketball all the time.
Yeah.
This was definitely done in baseball. And I'm okay with it that they all went out. If they did all go out and have a good time the previous night, because it's the last time they're together until they get back from the All-Star break. Even though half of them are going to the All-Star game, the other half aren't. You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
And interestingly enough, that the closer for the AL on Miller took the plane. He was invited on the plane with the Phillies, the charter flight. So they had him sitting in the plane with us. So I wonder
if
that
could tampering going on.
Well, I mean, it's interesting that it is 8 Phillies and 1 A, and he happens to be the best player on their team. So
that's what I mean. Sounds like some tampering.
Doesn't it? Sounds like hey, let's see if you can mesh with our guys here, and then we'll see if we can make a trade for you.
So where do you think you guys go? Do you think you cool off, or you think you just keep motoring?
I don't think that there's a chance that we slow down. I mean, the one thing that I have been overly impressed with, sans yesterday. Yesterday you could tell that they just were ready to get out of town.
Sure.
But that they have been putting together wins that they shouldn't win. And you could blame it on pitching some, but I mean, it's always somebody who is taking the lead spot that game to do something. And when you have that many people stepping up, like even Nick Castellanos is, where he steps up in very funny situations where you just wouldn't expect him to. When you got Bryson Stott doing the same situation, you got Alec Boehm who's sitting over 320. I haven't seen anybody hit like Trey Turner's been hitting in a long time. I think he's somewhere around 350 right now, batting average. and he's just been hitting for power. He's just getting on base all the time. And when you have that kind of thing going on, winning begets winning. I'm a firm believer of that.
Sure.
And as long as they don't start to swoon after the All-Star break, which is going to be tough because we're playing Pittsburgh, who always plays us tough, and for some reason or another, we have a hard time playing in that stadium. As long as that doesn't turn into a sweep and we take one of those games, I think that we'll just be carrying on. I kind of expect that we have 105 wins at the end of this season.
Okay.
Okay.
I mean, I could see it the way you guys are playing, especially the way that you've been able to have people step up, especially when people started getting hurt. That's where I was like, okay, this is where you might slow down, take a step back, and people have stepped into those roles,
right? And
just kept it pushing. So I mean, it's actually been pretty impressive to watch.
Correct. That's why I'm coming out to Seattle. You know what I mean? Like if this was I feel like this is like one of these runs that I've been saying all year long that we are going to make the final out of this season, and 3 days later we're going to have a parade. That there's nothing stopping that. And I think these guys have that same thing in mind. I mean, I think when you finally have a super focused, having a great time, Harper, you know what I mean? And like everybody else on that team. I know that Trey Turner's got a ring. I think he got it with Washington, right? He was part of that Washington crew. When he was he was the one that won that ring. Harper's really the one that hasn't won one yet, because I think Schwarber's got one.
Yep.
He was with Chicago when he won his.
Yep.
It's like you have Bohm, Stott, Harper, and everybody else who's like in the outfield that have not had a ring yet want the ring. And same thing with JT. Like there's too many great players. Mm-hmm. And I tell you, if the best that we're going to go up against is the Dodgers, I am not afraid. Sure. Yeah.
I think the only thing that could take you guys out, honestly, would be injuries. As long as you guys can stay healthy, that's going to be the biggest thing for you guys, is just staying healthy. Harper and Schwarber, obviously, they're just coming off those injuries of theirs. As long as you can keep those guys healthy and keep their momentum in good shape, then, I think you're going to be fine.
Well, and the Dodgers have shown that they're beatable. I mean
everybody in the damn Major League Baseball is beatable. I mean,
like
any given Sunday.
I am looking forward to the Cleveland series.
Oh, yeah.
That Cleveland series at the end of the month, it's like the 20th, right before the Yankees. That is, that Saturday game or that Sunday game may turn to Sunday night baseball. That I was thinking about that. The 28th could very well be turned to Sunday night baseball, because you have the best team in the American League going up against the best team in the National League. And as of right now, I could see that being a monster pitching duel. On that Sunday. That would probably be Suarez versus their number 2 or number 3 guy.
Right.
Okay.
So,
you guys got the pitch, and I mean, you got all the right spots. As long as you can stay healthy, come out of the All-Star break and pick up that torch again, and not come out sluggish. I think you guys are going to be fine. I mean, even if you come out a little sluggish, you got 8.5 games over, the Braves. So it's not like you're.
Well, I'm not worried about our division at this point. Yeah, I'm more concerned about getting the number 1 seed. And I want the number 1 seed, not just for this, but I want it to go out through the entire playoffs. I want home field in the World Series.
Yeah.
And I
get that.
And I know that come November 4th or 5th, whatever that Tuesday is, that everybody in Philadelphia is going to take off from work, because we are having a parade.
Are you providing the alcohol?
I'm going to be leading it. I'm leading the parade.
The alcohol parade.
I will have a few drinks that day. The Philly sports guy will have a couple of cocktails.
I was telling Bo about this. What do you guys think about Aaron Judge? I mean, this guy's got, he's going after multi-hit home run games. This guy's like 34 on pace, was already ahead of where Roger Maris was. How far do you think he's going to go in this?
He goes hot and cold. He's going to have a down month in August a little bit. Pick it up in September and come close. I think that it's, this is it. there's ebbs and flows with everything in baseball. He's not right now Barry Bonds, although he happens to be seeing the ball great.
Right.
I think he's going to be somewhere in that neighborhood of 60 to 65. You know what I mean? He'll be close. It's going to come down to the last couple days. And then once he breaks it, because the hardest part is breaking that 62 to get to 63. Once he breaks that, depending on how much time is left in the season, if it's 2 games, 5 games, 7 games, they'll start pitching to him again. Nobody wants to give up the one pitch. But then everybody will pitch afterwards. And he has the potential. If he was to get 63 with 5 games left, he then would have the potential to get maybe 70 because every pitch he's going to be swinging for the fences.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is one guy that I would love to see in the home run derby, even though he's never done it.
I think the reason why he doesn't is because he knows it'll mess up his swing.
Oh, no, I agree. I agree there. Just how far he hits the ball in like a regular game, I would just love to see where he'd put some of these balls in a home run derby.
Yeah.
But I do agree with Pax. I mean, it would be dumb for him to do that. Like I said, the last thing you want to do is mess up your swing right now while you're in the play the way he's doing. I mean, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I mean, he's absolutely killing it. I wouldn't.
Especially when you're trying to battle for first place with the Orioles right now.
Yeah, and I have to say something about what a little thing I got a little bit upset about with the Phillies yesterday. Trey Turner first at bat hits a home run. His second at bat, he got plunked. Now it was 1-0. The game was 1-0 at that point. They hadn't come back yet, and they plunk him. And it was like, all right, fine. We did not plunk anybody back. We had one guy hit 3 home runs, 2 guys hit 2 home runs, and not one of them got plunked. You gotta support your teammate better than that, as far as I'm concerned. You gotta pitcher. This is a bullpen game, anyways. One of those pitchers should have plunked him. Yeah, it's a rib shot. You get a rib shot. You gave our guy a rib shot. You get a rib shot. Right? Isn't that the way baseball is? You police your own a little bit. Like, hey, listen, our guy got hit. Took his base. We didn't do our thing. Your guy gets hit. Get the nice little plunk in the arm or in the, and just let you know, hey, listen, we didn't appreciate the fact that you threw at our guy.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, we here at Coast to Coast always want to ensure the safety and well-being of all baseball players. We're no way in saying that we should be throwing baseballs at players. But if it happens, okay, so be it.
Well, you think about the fact that it got
I think my 10-year-olds do it.
No, what we're saying is you roll it into their ribs. You don't take the head shot.
No,
you don't do like the Yankees and throw it at the guy's head.
I have my 10-year-olds do it at 10 already.
Think that has to do with coaching?
No, like we've had several games where we face like really good travel teams that are like all-star travel teams that literally like take kids from like the entire Midwest and like make like a super team that they can't be beat when you face like regular like town teams. And there's games where they score like 15, 16 runs in 2 innings and they're up 16-0. And they're still trying to steal second, still trying to steal third, still trying to steal home. So then next time the kid comes up, I tell my pitchers to drill him in the leg. I don't care anymore. I'm like, you want to keep stealing? Throw them in the legs. They won't steal anymore.
Well, I'll tell you what. The world of Little League Baseball has changed. Right? Johnny is now trying to take him out.
Aim for the knees. Something wrong with you, man.
It's tournament baseball. It's not Little League. Like everything is based off of like run differential in tournament ball. But if you're a travel team, run differential is not going to matter because if you have like an all-star team, you're not going to lose to just like a regular town team that has 12
Podunk, Indiana.
Yeah, that's right.
You're not losing to Podunk, Indiana.
No, it's like I have 12, 13 kids from my city. You have 15 kids on your roster from 5 different states. You're not going to lose to me, so there's no point to keep running up the score because we're not going to score 16 runs on you. So then, yes, I will throw at your legs and make you so you don't steal no more.
Get him.
I'm just saying, this is usually what leads to all kinds of crazy extracurriculars after the game. I don't know what they're doing over there.
So speaking of Podunk, We might as well talk about your Cubbies a little bit.
We started to win. We started to win a little bit.
That's actually what I was bringing up. I was like, they're actually starting to play baseball a little late in the game for it. But
no, actually, it's not, because they did the same stupid thing last July, too. They were 8 games under 500 at the All-Star break last July and ended up going 14 games above 500 the rest of the way. They're only 4 games under 500 at the All-Star break right now. They're doing the exact same thing they did last year.
Yeah, I mean, and they're 7-3 in their last 10. So, I mean, it's trending the right direction. I guess you're actually not that far back in the division here.
No, we made up 3 games on the Brewers in the last 10 games, and we made up 2.5 games in the wild card in the last 10 days.
Yeah. So they're going to be buyers? They're going to try and do something, or?
I'm going to say yes and no. I think the first.
Hedge your bet.
Well, no, I think the first 6 games are going to determine what they do, because out of the All-Star break, they get 3 games with Arizona right away, who is one of the teams ahead of them in the standings right now, who the Cubs took 2 or 3 from them in Arizona earlier this year, where if they can take 2 or 3 from them at Wrigley, then they win the season series, have that tiebreaker over them, and then they get 3 with the Brewers right after that, which is the team you're trying to catch in the division. So go 4-2 in those 6 games. You're gaining at least 2 games on one of those teams. It just depends on what team it is that you're gaining ground on. But if you go 2-4, 3-3, you're not gaining any ground and you're potentially losing ground. I don't see this team being a buyer per se, and I don't see them being a seller. I can see them selling maybe 1 player. That's about it. But that player has to come back healthy before they can sell him.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Cody Bellinger is the only one that I think they will try to move. And that's only if he gets healthy. Otherwise, I think this team stands pat.
Him breaking his finger is probably the worst thing that could have.
Yep.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I think this team stands pat, because the amount of injuries they dealt with the first couple months of the season, a lot of those injured pieces are starting to come back. And a lot of their injuries that occurred actually happened in the bullpen. And now they got 2 of those guys back this week. They have another one coming back, I think, Monday of next week, and then they have another guy coming back after that. So they're getting their pieces back a little bit, where even if they're 500 at the deadline, if you're 500 at the deadline and you're only 2 games out of that final wild card spot, there's no point to sell, because you're still very much alive in that division, and they have the 4th easiest schedule the rest of the way. So it's not like I'm not saying any game in baseball is easy, but when you look at who they play for opponents the rest of the way, they have the easiest schedule the rest of the way in the Central Division. So even if they don't make a move, they still have the pieces where they can go on a little run like they did last year. The question is, how long is it going to last?
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's in the home? Chris was asking who's going to win the home run derby. Who's actually in the home run derby this year?
Bobby Witt Jr. is in it.
Alec Boehm.
Alec Boehm is in it. Gunnar Henderson is in it. Pete Alonso went back in it to try to win that his 3rd time or whatever it is. 4th time, I can't remember. I think Vlad is in it again. Those are the 5 that I know off the top of my head.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have I don't know that I have a favorite for this one.
They did ask Shohei to do it, and Shohei said if it wasn't for his elbow, he would. He's still not 100% back from Tommy John yet, because he's not pitching yet. He said
he needs to rest as much as he can.
Yeah, he said if he was 100%, he would have done it, which basically kind of leaves the door open. Well, I guess you're going to probably do it in 2025 then.
Probably.
Yeah.
So I don't care who wins it, and I just hope Alec Boehm doesn't try to go crazy. If he does win it, I just hope it doesn't screw up his swing, because he's not just a power guy. He's not even a really strong power guy. No. He's more of a guy that just hits for average, and he'll hit home runs when when he feels like it, but he's not a, like, overpowering hitter. He just gets on base a lot. So I would rather him.
Adolis Garcia is obviously in it because the Derby's in Texas.
And he'll likely be the one that wins.
Yeah. He's Yeah, he's in there. Let's see, who are the other two? Marcelo Zuna's in it, and Jose Ramirez is in it. And then Teoscar Hernandez is actually taking the place of Vlad Guerrero because Vlad Guerrero has a foot injury right now.
I gotcha.
So Teoscar is taking his place.
Well, that does get us to the halfway point. We'll do our station break, and then on the other side, let's hear about your first trip to watch some boxing.
Okay.
All right. See you guys in the second half.
This is Reggie Jones, owner and founder of Air Sports Academy. Air is based on 4 core principles: heart, education, integrity, resiliency. Air is about developing student athletes physically and mentally through training, mentorship, and effective marketing. We've created a platform and a blueprint for our state to shine in the brightest of lights. I created this program because it was a need for our state. We needed to have the light shine on the student athletes in our region. And now that is happening at an all-time and undeniable rate. We created a lane for the kids in our state to get their college education paid for and set their families up for future success. We created an environment where serious athletes can now come compete fearlessly. We've achieved this through our variety of elite programs. Our 6-month off-season program, where first-year starters or seasoned vets can all come develop. Our 5-on-5 program, which is all about our line. Our youth tackle program, which is the first and only youth tackle team from the state of Washington to ever win a major national championship. Our 7-on-7 program, which is ranked top 10 in the country every year. Our high school 11-on-11 club tackle program, which creates unique and much-needed opportunities for our kids. Our college prep program, which allows our graduates to come back from college and prepare for their upcoming season. Our track and field program, which creates an opportunity for our young air boys and air girls to continue to get faster. When you're a national program, you receive national respect, which is why when you look at recruiting boards and top player lists from around the country, you'll always find players from Air on those lists. Which is why college coaches from some of the most prestigious schools around the country come into our facility to recruit our players. The Penn State, Alabama, Oregon, Stanford, Florida State, the list goes on. Our players are being recruited, offered, and committing to some of the top schools in the nation. The experience our players and families receive is second to none. We offer a competitive brand of sports at Air. We are the ball. And with that comes great responsibility. Heavy is the head that wears the crown.
All right. So you had double duty over the weekend, going to a couple of baseball games, and of course, got to finally watch some boxing. How was that?
It was interesting. It was fun. You know, obviously, it was my first time ever going to a boxing match, which was, just cool in general. The first match, the match was actually all of the matches were kind of, hey, we are trying to get as local of people as we can here, because they called it the homecoming, obviously. So there were a number of Philly or close to Philly. Like one fight was a Jersey City guy versus a Baltimore guy. But it was fun to watch. There were a couple of belts on the line. So there was the one fight that I thought would be so much better. It was it was like a dud of a fight. Like they talked so much smack to each other on the table, couldn't get into the thing without pushing each other, and then they got into the fight, and it was like, but
a lot of hugging.
Yeah, a lot of just not doing anything. Actually, it was just like 10 rounds of blah. So, but the main event was great. Women fighting were great. I mean, it was the women fighting was hysterical. Not hysterical to me, but like you had the one girl, Vargas, who was just like throwing these ridiculous haymakers, missing, and the girl would just be like, she'd miss, and the other girl would be like, out of the way, bang. You know what I mean? And that's how it was. She wasn't hitting her real hard. She was just a more technical boxer. So it was just like straight out. I'm like, yep, She won every round. There was no doubt in my mind. The other girl just looked too wild to throw, but it was just, you could tell she wasn't going to knock her out.
Yeah, exactly. If she ever connected, it was a wrap.
Yes. And so it just, but it was overall a great time. It was a great experience. I have to thank Wells Fargo for inviting me to it. I would like to be able to get closer to ringside next time. I think that would be a whole different expectation of the match and such. It was because I was in the suites. So, and as much as the suites were great, you know what I mean? Loved being in the suites because, you know,
Sweet. Yeah.
it's sweet. I had my own bathroom. I had alcohol. We had food and stuff like that.
Yep.
It made for some really good content, and it was fun to, be a part of it. So, and I recorded the whole fight on the phone. Like I have the whole fight. Yeah, I could just condense it into, like 8 minutes and just be like, hey, first round, second round, third round, fourth round, fifth round. That's it. Because the guy couldn't answer the bell in the sixth round. But overall, the Philly guy won, which was awesome.
There you go.
Hey.
14,000 people, largest boxing event in 50 years in Philadelphia.
Wow.
So,
that's surprising.
And yeah, and so because they haven't had boxing in Philly. So, I can imagine they're going to do it again because they had such a big outpouring, and there's enough boxers here that they could create a new home in Philadelphia. 14,000 people is a lot of people. So the fact that they were able to do that
packs an arena out.
It packs the lower bowl. There was some in the upper bowl that went up. They had like a couple, like I guess in what would be middle ice, because obviously the ring is in the middle. So it was like they had some up there, upper bowl, but for the most part, everything on the floor and the lower bowl was completely full.
That's a good showing.
Yeah, so
it is a good showing.
I'm hoping that there's more. Because I said it was a lot of fun to be at, and like I said, the couple of the fights were duds, but the whole experience was outstanding.
The best thing about the fights that are duds is they also are really long.
Yes.
Yeah.
They take the entire time.
You feel like you got your money's worth versus a Mike Tyson fight where like less than a round and you're like
seconds. Yeah.
Well, and you know what? The other thing is that they started so early. Like the fight started at 6:00. Well, you had a fight, and then you had about an hour, and then you had a fight, and then you had about an hour, and then they had the fight. And when they were on, you could tell like the other cards. That's when they started to fight.
Did they just have people not show up? Because that's like a long gap.
So the undercard. The undercard is meant to have those types of gaps because you want to get people in for the fight. So it's these people, those fighters are not. There was one guy from Philly who was in part of that mix. You want to get his people in. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is when this fight's going to be. Do that.
But yeah, no, I'm with you. That seems like such a long gap. I mean, undercards, there always are bigger gaps and there's more talking, whatever. But yeah, I mean, that kind of gap makes you think that maybe there was a couple undercards that didn't actually show up.
No, I think it was just, they started early and they allotted for 10 rounds and they got 3. So now you got 21 minutes of fighting time. And so really a half hour of fighting time that you're now not accounting for, and you can't race everything earlier. So it's like once because you have that fight, you expect it to go a certain time. Then you have the next fight, you expect to go that a certain time. I mean, the one fight that I started to walk into, he was a Philly guy, and the guy, the third round, he was just the one guy started to get pummeled, and he's like, I ain't coming back out. No, we're done. No mas. And that's the end of that. That was the end of the fight. I'm like, oh, okay, there you go. He didn't answer the bell. Now we're waiting for a half hour before anybody does anything, because that's how long the fight should have taken if it was to go 10 rounds.
Yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair.
So, I mean, but it was an overall great experience. Would love to do it again.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
I'll do it again. Shoot.
And in a suite full of influencers. You know, it was a whole bunch of other influencers. Another Philly group, the Water Ice Boys. I had my buddy Lou from B2. His son is also an influencer, Lou Vogel, and local guy, and him and his girlfriend are both influencers and stuff. And then it was me and the Philly captain. So,
okay.
Yeah, nice. we had a good time. It was a good time, and like I said, it was in the suite, so it's.
How could it not be a good time? You have free beer, your own bathroom, and a great view. I mean, come on.
Exactly. That's exactly correct. Yep. There was nothing. It was great, and you know what? For the most part, it was somewhat air conditioned. Wasn't completely air conditioned, but it was somewhat air conditioned.
Listen, the only thing that could have made that better is if you'd had a tomahawk. If you'd had a tomahawk, that'd be perfect. Tomahawk with your beer.
Tomahawk steaks make everything better.
That's right. That's right. No, it is always nice to get up in the suites, though. Like it's such a comfortable way to watch.
Yes. Yes.
It's as close to being in your living room, but still being live as you can get.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I have some editing to do. Like I said, I got the fights and thing, and I was gonna kind of show it. I did go Instagram live for a little while, and then they said, I don't know if we're supposed to show this, but we're going to stop it. They just stopped the live in the middle of it. I was like, okay, I guess that's the end of the live. So
yeah, I wonder if there was a broadcast concern.
I think there was a little bit, but I was showing the fights. DAZN isn't the most well-known channel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was hoping that maybe, hey, you get, now you did it. Now get DAZN after you watched a little bit of the fight from me. So there was like 1,800 people that watched. It was cool. At least for a few seconds.
Yeah. And yes, we will be getting tomahawks soon. So
they are coming.
They are coming. And today is the day where I'm hungry on screen. I'm like, I could go for one of those. Now.
Right now, I could go for a tomahawk. So yeah, I have to work that out for August 19th. It's coming. It's coming. A tomahawk is required for entry into our fantasy football draft.
That is exactly correct. That's what it should be.
That's right.
Agreed.
It's funny when speaking of fantasy football, it's always entertaining to see how people set up their draft of who gets to go first, stuff like that. Like, a lot of people do it in a boring way where last year's winner, gets to pick in a certain spot or whatever. But I always laugh when I watch the videos of people like running a combine. And the winner of the combine is basically who gets to go first. So they'll run like a 40 and then they'll do like a passing skills thing. And I'm like, that actually looks like a fun way to do it, to get your selection order down.
That kind of does, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know that I like that whole idea. Although I probably am more athletic than most of the people that I'm in my fantasy. But the 16-year-old kid is going to have the biggest. He's going to win. He's going to win. You know what I mean?
Well, not necessarily, because they weren't all like speed related. Obviously, the 40 is, but from there, I mean, like passing skills, stuff like that. Like, you don't have to be in great shape to throw the ball.
And nothing else. It'll just encourage you to get into shape, Pax. That's all it did. Just encourage you.
Training for your.
Come on.
Working on my scholarship.
Listen, you're in Philly. You gotta do like Rocky Balboa. You gotta run up the street. Come on, let's do it.
That's right. Up all them stairs.
Now that's some uploads I want to see. I want to see TikToks of Pags getting into shape for that skills challenge test. Now that would be worthwhile. I will tell you.
Yeah, you wouldn't be hearing the dent dent. That you'd be hearing the piano ding 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 ding. You know what I mean? Where I look like miserable. That it's just like, yeah, it's just the sad sound song.
I don't know. It seems like it'd be fun though, because I mean, even if you weren't that into the actual draft, you'd be like, I'm at least winning draft day.
But I will tell you this, Bo. For somebody like yourself, that's a sports guy, you couldn't do it because you're a ringer, man. You're already been in that sports. You played football. That would not be fair to people. So you got to keep it.
I don't know. I would bet most people would do fairly well against me, like in a foot race now, just because the knees are hammered, right? Like when I was still playing, yes, like that obviously would not have been fair. They're clearly accurate. But today, I'm significantly heavier than I was, not as fast as I was. I can still throw the ball, but yeah, it's. I think it'd be a little more fair than you think.
I don't know. I'm seeing some pictures of you, Bo. You don't look like you're that out of shape. You look like you're still doing all right over there.
Yeah, I mean, pictures are friendly, especially older ones. Like if you look a couple years ago, that would definitely be true.
Now, if it was Dustin Reese over there, now that guy's way out of shape.
Yeah. I am very out of shape nowadays.
I'm actually not so bad, but I just couldn't pick up and start running. My legs hurt 2 days after the fact. So
well, you only got to run 40 yards though. So
yeah, but like the gazelles that run all the time, when you go from I don't run at all to I'm going to run a 40, they cause that's how people get hurt.
Well, you can't step directly off the couch. You probably need to do some stretching, right? Because we're old.
Exactly.
Like if we were horses, I think that like Bo, you would be like a retired thoroughbred. I think that Pags would be like a retired Anheuser-Busch Clydesdale. I think that guy would be a really good paint horse from back in the John Wayne days, and I'm just a mule. So.
What are you talking? What are you talking about, Jay? I'd be a Somali ass. I'd be a donkey.
The ass is definitely correct.
I would be a donkey.
That setup was too easy. Talking about home run derby, it's like
that's my used to be my daughter's favorite animal at the zoo because I'd always say wild ass on the sign, so it would give her a reason to say ass.
That is serious. No doubt, donkey for Jay.
But anyways, so. What did you guys do this weekend? I know. I spent a lot of time at baseball games in the heat, and then birthday parties, getting drunk.
Dang, that sounds like a bad idea.
Well, it's what. Sometimes drinking a lot will, It was a long weekend. It was just a very long weekend. I'm a little crispy still. I'm a little crispy. I'm crispy.
Yeah. Well. Fair enough. Now, for me, I worked in the yard a little bit, went to a birthday party, and then yesterday I started watching Receiver.
Gotcha. Yeah. How old was the birthday party?
30.
Okay, so it was adults.
Oh, yeah.
I hated going to the 1-year-old birthday parties. The 1-year-old birthday parties aren't so bad. It's the 5-year-old birthday parties and 6-year-old birthday parties that you start to really be, why did I come to this thing?
Yes. Yeah. No. So I don't. I don't really jump in on those. So
you don't have kids. It makes it a little bit easier. But it's family. Like my family had a lot of kids, so I would go to those birthday parties. The first 1-year-old birthday party is for the parents because the kid ain't going to remember nothing. You know what I mean? So it's like you could get a birthday cake with the one candle and put the kid to bed and start drinking. Hey, we made it through the first year without killing this kid. We might be able to make it another 70 years without killing him.
No, that's exactly what it is too. That's a celebration of, wow, we reasonably didn't mess this kid up.
So far, we've been able to keep the kid off the pole. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, like I went to some of those with nieces and nephews, stuff like that. But it's not ones like a lot of my friends aren't necessarily having me come out to their little kid birthdays because we don't have kids. So they're like, you can come if you want. It's like, we'll get dinner.
It's a hard pass.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, realistically, it depends because you want to be like that's when I started giving some fatherly tips to some other people. They're like, yeah, we're going to have the birthday party at Betty's. I'm like, okay. So when you go to Betty's, because you're in that stage right now where you're just learning about venues, have them give you a tour of the back room because you want to get the back room next time you go to Betty's, because that's where you could actually have your friends come to the birthday party too, have some alcohol, have the kids go run amok doing what they're doing, and you can shoot some pool, play some basketball, play the old school video games, and drink with your buddies. And those buddies will bring presents because they will have their girlfriends or wives go out there and get a present for you to be able to attend this event.
Exactly.
And that's what you want to do. But at your first time going there, you got to learn all that.
Yep.
So you have to learn how much it sucks to have a 5-year-old birthday party at a place like Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah. Oh, God, I love Chuck E. Cheese. So back in the day when they had all the arcade games, that was such an awesome place.
They still have it. Like
I was going to say, do they not?
Yeah, but here the Chuck E. Cheese here, like everything else in life, it just all the good quality stuff kind of resents, and all the games and it's not as many games as it used to be. It's a little bit more barren.
I mean, I don't know that it was ever quality. It's Rat Pizza Child Casino.
No. I'm not talking about the food. I mean, I'm just saying like the games, like the plethora of. There should be a plethora of games. Now they've dwindled down into a little bit.
Okay.
And it's all for tickets.
It is.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, why do I want to get a pistol sharpener? What the hell is this?
Prizes.
So, but thank God my kids are not that. The next birthday I throw for my children is like one's going to turn 16, and then the other turns 16. Wow. So,
you're old, Pack. Damn.
I am, and I still look a lot better than you there, gray beard.
That's okay, because you know what? Ugly is a new sexy, and I'm big sexy. Okay, let's talk to it.
You keep telling yourself that
all day.
Like that's not how that works.
I had 6 baseball games on Saturday.
Lucky you.
Nice.
6 for our tournament. Yeah.
How many kids did you throw at?
All of them.
We threw at 2.
It's why he plays baseball.
We threw at 2 kids on Saturday.
He's the T-ball coach throwing at kids.
He took after the Jaguars, not the Jaguars, the Panthers owner throwing water.
That's right.
Oh yeah, Tepper. Where did I get his name? Yeah. I cut up trees all weekend from the hurricane, and I bribed the internet guy from AT&T to come out and fix my crap. So, I guess it worked.
Fixed it.
Yeah, thank God.
See you today.
It was rough, man. I'm telling you. Hey, they had it strapped to a cow. It was horrible.
Strapped to a
it's that
cow.
Country living, Bo. Cows are real things out here.
You know what? Then maybe you should be the one that gives us all the tomahawks, since you have the cows right there. It could be from farm to plate.
You know, I thought about it, because there is a guy with a ranch, and I know that man doesn't monitor his cows all the time. I could really easily just pull one over to my little 2-3 acres and then slowly butcher it over time.
Yeah, if we never see Jay again, that's why.
Actually, if for your 2 or 3 acres, I would have the cow come over just eat the grass, so you'd have to cut the grass.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, let me give you some free grass grazing.
Get the goats. Get some goats.
No, but so here's something for you, Jay, that you wouldn't know about me is, we owned horses.
So you go cow tipping? Oh.
No, we actually used to go and help a friend of ours that has a ranch round them up and dehorn them and brand them, and yeah.
Oh. That's what's up.
So,
not if I'd want to be part of the dehorning crew, but
it's not as bad as you. I mean, you're picking them up when they're young, right? So it's actually just kind of some loppers, and they just, obviously they bleed. The one thing they don't tell you about branding, right, is when you brand a calf, because their hair is a lot more oily. They kind of light on fire right where the brand hits them.
Oh, Jesus.
I'm sure they love that too.
Yeah, well, there's a reason they're in a chute that sandwiches them and pulls them off the ground a little bit,
so that they can't kick your ass afterwards. It's like they want to
exactly
kick
right.
after that.
Yep.
I once knew a guy when we were on the ship, Pax. You can't make this up. We were in the radio operations room, and this is a hairy guy. I mean, Pax, this guy was like a bear. And he goes,
so in other words, it was you?
Hey, no, I wasn't me. I got that hair, but he goes, hey, he wants to see some cool shit. And he took this lighter and he put it at the base where his navel is, and he just lit his whole damn chest hair on fire. It's like, what kind of idiot are you? But
I mean, faster than shaving, I guess.
I guess so.
Got
I'm
to
just saying.
So bad.
Oh, it smelled.
That had to
so
stink
horrible.
so bad.
Yeah.
Like on a
It's
ship.
worse than
Get the
burning
frig
hair.
out of here, man. It's like,
I'm
no.
guessing he didn't have a beard.
No, he did. No, not him. This is actually on the
That would have
submarine.
been hilarious because it would have ran up and then like lit his face on fire, and that would have been priceless.
Yeah, in the Navy, you're not allowed to have beards.
Yeah.
No. Well, nowadays you can, but you have to have a shaving profile, and it has to be all these different metrics you got to meet. And the reason why that is, Bo, is because when you go in, if the shit catches on fire and you got to go down there and put the fire out, you have to have an apparatus that can seal off your face. Otherwise,
of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the reason why. But
absolutely.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, that's there was a lot of that. That's why everybody has mustache. They have like porn stashes in the.
Oh yeah.
Hmm?
Oh yeah.
So.
I've been a member of Repair Locker 2 for a long ass time running.
Oh yeah. No. That's
we were
like,
red stripes, so I understand all of that.
If I cut this thing down, it is definitely the 70s porn stash. It's like if I'm fixing a line,
pretty far. I can almost wax. Well, I should wax it sometime, but it goes all the way out to about here. That's my beard, or that's my mustache. The edges of my mustache, right about there.
Yeah, I don't have the patience for that.
Yeah, like my face starts to itch just as my hair comes through a little bit. So it's that's the way that works sometimes. Such is life.
Yep. And somehow this nonsense brought us to the top of the hour. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe all of our channels. It helps us bring us our content to you. And of course, if you're watching on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour. Other than that, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Take care.